My name is Shaalini Mahendra, and today I will be presenting my final project for performance evaluation. It's about Chapter 7, Performance Appraisal Method. Okay, firstly, we'll go to the introduction. Okay, this final project is about performance appraisals method. A performance appraisal may be a efficient and occasional handle of measuring an individual's work execution against the set up necessities of the work. It's a subjective evaluation of the employee's qualities and shortcomings, relative worth to the organization, and future advancement potential. A performance appraisal aims to provide helpful information to help make decisions regarding transfers, promotions, terminations, and etc. Also to help make confirmation acceptance decisions regarding employees who have completed a probationary period. My report will be based on only one performance appraisal method, which is about rating graphic rating scale. Okay, next to the contents. Okay, the content is about firstly is describe the details of the performance appraisal method, such as the procedures, process, and step by step how to conduct the appraisal. But what I did about the process. Okay, but firstly, a graphing rating scale, sometimes called a Likert scale, is a performance appraisal method that lists desired traits and behaviors for each role. Then rates workers on each of those on a numbered scale. The attributes might include punctuality, quality of work, job knowledge, teamwork, accountability, responsibility, and etc. Okay, this helps an organization determine employee performance levels, increase efficiency and productivity, and make salary adjustments or promotions. The graphic rating scale method also helps HR managers to obtain quantitative data regarding various employee attributes in relation to a specific job description. Okay, so moving on to the process. The process of conducting a graphic rating scale is a predetermined number of questions or behaviors are listed and answered using a numbered scale. For example, 1 to 5 or on a scale of 1 to 10. Okay, on a scale of 1 to 5, a score of 1 would usually signify that the behavior is non-existent in the employee. And a score of 5 would rate the employee as excellent regarding that particular behavior. Depending on that question asked, two different possible numerical scales might be used. A discrete scale will list specific responses such as unlikely, hard to say, or likely. The manager must select the response that most fits the employee. A continuous scale will list two extreme values at either end of the scale and ask the manager to rank the employee somewhere on that scale. Okay, moving on to the second content is describe strength, weakness, opportunity, and traits of appraisal method used in the company and what are the challenges faced. Okay, strengths. Firstly, with the strengths it's easy to understand and use. The graphic rating scale method is straightforward and easy to understand. Most people have likely filled out a similar questionnaire in the past. Therefore, it requires minimal extra training to implement and can be grasped by both managers and employees. That's why it's a popular choice for performance rating. The second one would be quantifying behaviors makes the appraisal system easier. This method quantifies behavioral traits, making it far easier to analyze the feedback and spot strengths. Patterns and developments. Areas for improvement can be easily identified and action, and progress can be tracked. This streamlines the entire appraisal system. Next would be the weakness. The first weakness is different type of biases. One of the most common biases of this method is the halo effect, which can skew the evaluation results. This happens when employees have a handful of exceptional strengths which overshadow any glaring weakness and need addressing. The reverse is also a possibility. One significant weakness can bring down an overall score and detract from an employee's many strengths. There's also the recency effect, the tendency to remember that the most recent events. Okay, next would be difficult to understand employee strengths. The scores are added at the end of the questionnaire, and each employee is given an average final score. However, as mentioned above, this may not accurately represent an employee's total performance. For example, employee A consistently scores has averaged across the scale, while employee B scores at both extreme ends of the scale, but they will end up with a similar total score. Therefore, it would be wrong to suggest similar changes and improvements to both these employees as they are clearly in a different situation. Okay, next would be opportunity. First one, it would be data can be used for compensation and succession planning. When it comes to assessing how good something or someone is, everyone loves a grading system, from rating a restaurant 5 stars to giving something an F for being totally subpar. The same goes for people in an organization. So the second one would be ratings make it easier to communicate performance. The hard truth is that the quality feedback from managers, especially during high crunch review periods, is hard to come by. Some managers may find it difficult to come up with the right way to express what they need their people to do better. Others may simply hate having to write things out. And the last one will be threats. The first one is ratings are too subjective. While it's great to have all the very specific data that are easy to visualize and pass, a rating system is only as good as how things are defined. While it may seem like a number of grading scale feels pretty easy to interpret, that's just the problem. Managers are human and have very different interpretation of what ratings represent. Second one will be people focus on the number over the feedback. For our panelists at the Great HR Debate, this was the number one issue with ratings. Numbers are so definite and so easy to understand that more long-form feedback explanation about why an employee got the rating gets lost to TLDR model. Okay, and the next would be suggestions and recommendations. Okay, firstly, define your desired outcomes. Before you create your appraisal, it's essential to get clear on your desired outcomes. What do you want to measure? What are your goals? How will this data help the organization work towards the overall goals of the business? Secondly, it will be combine it with other appraisal methods. While the graphic rating scale can be useful for employee evaluation and appraisals, you shouldn't use it in isolation. Combining this appraisal method with others such as an essay performance appraisal method, checklist scale, ranking appraisal, etc., helps minimize limitations and provides a more accurate insight to an employee's performance. Thirdly, train managers on how to use the graphic rating scale. To avoid definition bias, providing a guide for each answer on the scale, as outlined in our example above, can be effective and help maintain consistency across evaluation. As we have already mentioned, this is because what satisfactory means to one manager may mean something entirely different to another manager. Educating managers on these types of biases also help create awareness of them and reduces the risk of skewing results. Moreover, get answers to reflect the questions. Once you've determined your questions, the next step is to create appropriate answers for them. For example, let's say your question is, does the employee deliver work on time and adhere to the deadlines? Your scale should include answers such as late, on schedule, and ahead of schedule. Last but not least, use behavioral questions. For each role you want to use the graphic scale for, define the key desired behaviors. For example, should the employee be a team player? Should they be innovative and creative? Should they be friendly and personable with customers? Go through each role, list the desired behaviors, and then create questions that help measure these behaviors most appropriately. And next would be examples or samples. Examples or samples of the performance appraisal in the form of picture, chart, or graph, etc. I went with the picture, and the first picture, as you can see in the first picture, it's about the graphic rating scale formats. Two different ways of asking the question. And then the second example would be in a table form, where you can see it's about attendance, behavior towards subordinates, sincerity, and dependability. And then for the performance level, it is stated as poor, fair, fairly poor, fairly good, good, or excellent. That is how graphics rating scales is all about. Okay, finally, it's the conclusion. In conclusion, graphic rating scale has its own strengths and weakness. There are also ways to improve the method in future. After finishing this report, I learned about the objective of using graphic rating scales and how it is used in organizations. If you decide to use a graphic rating scale as a part of the appraisal method in your organization, ensure you spend time planning and developing it, educating managers on how to use it, and helping employees understand their scores. Combining this method with various others can help you obtain an accurate picture of your employees' performance, enabling you to create the right action plan to boost engagement, productivity, and effectiveness throughout the organization. Thank you very much. That's all from me, madam.